In his 1957 memoir, Unheard Witness, Ernst Putzi Hanfstaengl recounts a disturbing episode from Hitler's inner circle, an alleged blackmail attempt involving explicit pornographic sketches of Geli Raubal, drawn by Hitler himself. If true, this incident not only suggests a profoundly unhealthy dynamic between Hitler and his niece, but also may cast new light on the psychological and emotional pressures surrounding Geli's death in 1931. But before examining the allegation, I think it necessary to understand who Hanfstaengl was and what he saw and why his testimony sits somewhat uncomfortably between privileged insight and potential embellishment. Now, if you've seen the film Hitler, the Rise of Evil, you'll have seen all about Ernst Putzi Hanfstaengl. I think, in fact, that the actor who played him did a brilliant job, perhaps just second to that of Robert Carlyle as Hitler. And I think that this actor would have made a really good Stauffenberg in the film Valkyrie. The real Ernst Franz Sedgwick Hanfstaengl was born on the 2nd of February 1887 in Munich. He was the son of a German arts publisher and an American mother, descended from prominent New England families. Through his mother's lineage, he was related to Union General John Sedgwick, and his godfather was Duke Ernst II of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, placing him at the crossroads of German aristocracy, American intellectual cultures, and indeed the family of Queen Victoria. Hanfstaengl attended Harvard College, graduating in 1909. A gifted pianist, he composed Harvard football songs and cultivated friendships with influential future statesmen and writers, including Walter Lippmann, John Reed, and members of the Roosevelt family. In New York, he managed the Franz Hanfstaengl Fine Arts Publishing House, mingling with figures such as William Randolph Hearst, Jejuna Barnes, to whom he was briefly engaged, and Charlie Chaplin. The outbreak of World War I trapped him in the United States, and in 1917 the American government seized the family business as enemy property. Returning to Germany in 1922, Hanfstaengl, at the encouragement of US military attaché Captain Truman Smith, attended a Hitler rally. He was mesmerized by Hitler's ability to control a crowd. Putzi, that was his nickname, introduced himself afterwards and became part of Hitler's intimate social world. Throughout the 1920s, he polished Hitler's image amongst Munich elites. He provided financial support for Mein Kampf and the Völkische Beobachter. He composed Nazi marching songs, and he served as an informal cultural advisor. Hitler grew close enough to the family to become godfather to Putzi's son Egon. After the Beer Hall Putsch, when Hitler sought refuge from arrest, he sheltered at the Hanfstaengl home. Helene Hanfstaengl, Putzi's wife, famously prevented Hitler from attempting suicide. Whether or not that happened as it was portrayed in the film, I can't say. But by the mid-1920s, Hanfstaengl clashed with Joseph Goebbels and was undermined by Unity Mitford. He sensed Hitler's hostility growing. In 1937, after being tricked into boarding a plane for what he later learned was an elaborate mock assassination, he decided it was better to get out the way. He eventually fled to the United Kingdom. He was interned in Canada during World War II and was later turned over to the United States. There he worked on Roosevelt's S project, providing intelligence dossiers on Nazi leaders and assisting the OSS with psychological analysis of Hitler. His background makes him simultaneously credible as an eyewitness and an insider, self-serving because he wanted to portray himself both as important and morally superior, and somewhat unreliable as he embellished stories for dramatic effect. So this tension is critical when assessing what he wrote about Geli. According to Hanfstaengl, the first indication that something was wrong between Hitler and Geli emerged around 1930. One day he encountered Franz Xaver Schwarz, the meticulous and soft-spoken treasurer of the Nazi Party, looking unusually distressed. Schwarz led him to his flat and confided that he just dealt with a blackmail attempt. A man had acquired a folio of the pornographic drawings allegedly made by Hitler. These were not generic nudes, they were, according to Schwarz, depraved, intimate sketches of Geli Raubal with every anatomical detail. The implication was staggering. Hitler drew explicit scenes of his niece, someone had got a hold of them, and the party paid to retrieve them quietly. Hanfstaengl said he was horrified to see Schwarz still possess the drawings. He urged him to destroy them. "Heaven help us, man, why don't you tear this filth up?" But Schwarz refused. "No, Hitler wants them back. He wants me to keep them in the Brown House safe." So, if this story is true, it reveals a sexualized obsession by Hitler, profound vulnerability to blackmail, explosive potential scandal, and immense pressure on Geli within a coercive household environment. It's impossible to grasp the full context of Geli's death without understanding how damaging such material would have been if disclosed publicly. The blackmail story does not directly explain the events of the 18th of September 1931 when Geli died, but it casts Hitler's relationship with Geli in a deeply troubling light. If he produced intimate drawings of her, it suggests a level of emotional enmeshment far beyond the paternal role he publicly claimed, a possessiveness that bordered on obsession, a fear of public exposure that could destabilize his political ascent, and a motive for controlling Geli's movements, friends, and correspondence. In the months leading to her death, Geli repeatedly tried to escape Hitler's control, arguing violently with him and preparing to leave Munich for Vienna. The emotional strain, the toxic dependency, and the political risks all converged in a pressure cooker that ended with Geli dead in Hitler's apartment. Within this environment, a prior blackmail attempt over explicit drawings would only have intensified Hitler's paranoia and desperation to control the narrative. But how credible is Hanfstaigl's story? So let's evaluate it. His claim requires weighting evidence, motive, plausibility, and corroboration. Does Hanfstaengl have the access to make the story plausible? Well, yes, he does. He was a close friend of Hitler for over a decade. Part of his social and political inner circle, he was privy to his confidential discussions, and he was trusted with propaganda and image management. He knew Schwarz. They interacted regularly. The story falls within the kind of information Schwarz might relay to someone inside the inner ring. Are other elements of the story corroborated elsewhere? Well, rumours of pornographic material connected to Hitler and Geli were circulating in Munich at the time. There were once more rumours of at least 2 blackmail attempts involving Hitler in the 1930s, but the context just isn't clear. Hitler's extreme panic about personal scandal, but then again I suppose many politicians have this, Geli's emotional distress and desire to escape, and testimonies suggesting inappropriate closeness or control. While no other witness mentions sketches, there are enough independent reports of impropriety and blackmail to give the story contextual credibility. Does Hanfstaengl have reasons to lie or embellish? Well, yes, he did. He had a lot of reasons to lie. He had grievances against Hitler after 1934. After all that he had done to help Hitler, look at how badly he was treated by him. He also had a desire to portray himself as an insider hero who saw the danger early and got out of the Third Reich. And he had incentives to dramatise events for American audiences during the Cold War and obviously to help sell his book. Does the story fit known patterns of Hitler's behaviour? It does. Hitler's conduct towards Geli was controlling, possessive, jealous, emotionally volatile, and is well documented. A sexualized fixation would not contradict his obsessive behavior or the household testimonies. Would the Nazi leadership hide such material? Absolutely. Franz Xaver Schwartz's alleged response, storing the sketches in the Brown House safe, is consistent with the party's growing secrecy apparatus, their willingness to suppress scandal, and Hitler's extreme fear of ridicule. But I think that would be the same with just about any political party. Could Schwartz have invented this story? I don't think so. Schwartz was known for his rigid discipline, careful speech, avoidance of gossip, and he was loyal to the party finances, but maybe not so much propaganda. He wasn't somebody who was prone to melodrama. So, what can we conclude? Well, this story cannot be accepted as verified fact, but it can't be dismissed either. It's possible. It's plausible. I think it's consistent with other evidence, but it must be made very clear it doesn't have independent corroboration. Most importantly, its psychological implications align disturbingly with what multiple witnesses observed in Hitler's behavior towards Geli. Thus, Hanfstaengl's claim stands as a significant, if unproven, I insist it's unproven, but it's a piece of circumstantial evidence in understanding the toxic environment surrounding Geli Raubal's final months. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found that interesting. I've done a number of videos on the death of Geli Raubal. I upload every day at 2000 hours my time, Central European time. I live in Poland and in Germany. And on Tuesdays and Fridays, I do longer sort of documentary type videos like this one. And on other days, I do a shorts video of up to 3 minutes in length. I also offer membership of this channel. Membership costs £5 or €6 or $6 per month, and that will give you access to currently over 800 videos. Unfortunately, I have to put them on membership because of the policies of YouTube, which has been attacking me in somewhat. They've taken my videos down for no reasons at all, or something like this, which is related to suicide. They also might take a dislike to. So that is why things like this are have to be on the membership page because of YouTube censorship. Anyway, thank you very much, and bye for now.